Who Am I? By Swami Sarvapriyananda. Who am I according to the Mandukya Upanishad? The subject is the most ancient questions. Who am I? We will investigate this question in the light of Upanishads. Vedanta consists of teaching of Upanishads. Vedanta Nama Upanishad Pranamam. This is the definition of Vedanta. It means the Vedanta is a source of spiritual knowledge called Upanishads. The Upanishads presents the highest philosophical teachings of Vedas, and they are amongst the most ancient texts known to humanity. There are many Upanishads in fact. In one of the Upanishads called Muktika Upanishad, we find the list of 108 Upanishads. Among these, 10 are called major Upanishads because Adi Shankaracharya chose these 10 to write his commentaries or bhashyam. These Upanishads are the foundational text of Vedanta. Adi Shankaracharya gave the non-dualistic interpretation to these Upanishads, and so the school of Vedanta associated with him is called Advaita Vedanta. We will follow his interpretation. Among all the major Upanishads, there is a one, the shortest of all texts, called Mandukya Upanishad, which is perhaps the most powerful Upanishad. There is a saying that for those who want a spiritual enlightenment, the Mandukya Upanishad alone is sufficient. Mumukkanamam vimukte Mandukya ekam eva alam. For those who seek moksha, the Mandukya alone is sufficient. It consists of only 12 mantras, and it is like the little chili pepper, which is small but very hot. In Mandukya Upanishad, the 7th mantra is the most important mantra. It answers the great question, who am I? It is one of the finest mantras found in our Upanishads, and I haven't found a more sophisticated, more profound answers to any of the literature of the world religions or philosophies which I have came across. The Mandukya Upanishad was commented upon by Gaupadacharya. Gaupadacharya's disciple was Govindpada, and Govindpada's disciple was Adi Shankaracharya. Gaupada's commentary on Mandukya Upanishad is called Mandukya Karika and is in the form of verses. So nowadays, when you study the Mandukya Upanishad, you study the Mandukya Karika as well. Adi Shankaracharya wrote a commentary explaining not only the original Upanishadic mantras but also the Karikas. So we are usually study the Mandukya Upanishad along with the Gaupada's Karika and Shankaracharya's Bhashya. About 10 years ago, I lived for a while in a solitude in a high Himalayan region in Gangotri. I stayed in a long cabin with no electricity or furniture, just a blanket on a floor and some blankets to cover myself with. I spent my time meditating and studying. Without electricity, it used to be a dark inside the cabin that if I waved my hands before my eyes, I couldn't see them. Occasionally, I used to see the spark of static electricity from my blankets and clothes. It was difficult to even step out of the cabin in the dark. One day after the Bhiksha, I was strolling with few monks with whom I had made acquaintance. We were walking through the forest trails among the lush deodar and pine trees with Ganga flowing fast far below. And in the serene setting, one of the monks told me a story which goes like this. Raja Janaka and Ashtavakra Muni. Raja Janaka was fast asleep one night when he was woken up by his same tree with the news of enemy's attack on his kingdom. The king hastily summoned his generals and soldiers, proceeded to the battlefield. There ensued a fierce battle in which Raja Janaka was eventually defeated. and captured. The wounded Raja Janaka was dragged before the enemy king, who said, "I have captured your kingdom, but I won't kill you. Instead, I will exile you." Now, what could the poor, defeated, and exiled Raja Janaka do? Exhausted, bleeding, depressed, he somehow started to walk. People from his own capital city refused to give him a food or water because they feared of new king. The new king is very cruel, they said. If he finds out that we helped you, we will be punished. Hungry and thirsty, he continued walking, and it took him 2 days to reach to the border of his kingdom. As he crossed the border to the next kingdom, he reached a place where a poor being served food. He joined a line. As soon as he approached the front of a line and was about to serve, the servers ran out of food and announced, "No food more." Janaka was exhausted, depressed, and in a great pain. Seeing his condition, the server offered him a starch stuck at the bottom of utensils, which Janaka readily accepted as a last respite. The server handed him a bowl of starch, but before he could lift it to his lips, with his trembling hands, the kite circling above swooped in and knocked it off his hands, and bowl went rolling into dust. Seeing this, Raja Janaka was overcome with the misery and collapsed on the ground and wept. As he was crying, he suddenly heard a voice, "Maharaja, what happened?" Hearing this, he woke up. With the chest pounding and body covered in a sweat, he sat on his bed when the sentry said again, "Maharaja, you were crying. What happened?" It was all just a nightmare. But since Raja Janaka was a philosopher king, he had an analytical mind. He asked, "Was that true, or is this true?" "Ye sach, ya wo sach." Unable to comprehend the king's question, the sentry called the minister, to whom Janaka repeated, "Was that true, or this is true?" When the minister failed to understand, the queen came to speak with him, but he kept repeating, "Was that true, or is this true?" No one could understand what he meant. During this time, Ashtavakra Muni, the great sage, was visiting the city. While he was in a marketplace, he learned about Janaka's condition and went to court to inquire about him. The king, surrounded by his ministers, kings, repeated, "Was that true, or is this true?" Ashtavakra Muni, being enlightened sage, immediately understood what king meant. He asked the Raja king, "Raja Janak, when you were rolling in a dust, bleeding, defeated, depressed, crying, during those moments were all there your power, your ministers, your court?" Raja Janaka said, "No, there was only defeat and depression." Ashtavakra Muni asked again, "And now you are here, sitting in your court with your courtiers. Those wounds and defeat that you experience, are they here?" The king once again said, "No, they are not here." Then Ashtavakra Muni said to the king, "Then Raja Janaka, neither is true nor that true." Raja Janaka was shocked to hear this and wondered aloud, "Is nothing true then?" Ashtavakra Muni asked again, "Raja Janaka, were you there on a battlefield? It may false, but yes, I experienced it," replied the king. "And now here in a court, are you not experiencing all this?" Then Raja Janaka, "Neither this is true nor that is true, but you, the witness of both, you alone, the truth." The fourth, Turiya. Now let us try to understand the meaning of whole story. The meaning of this story and the meaning of the seventh mantra of Mandukya Upanishad are exactly same. When Raja Janaka was in a waking state, like us, he was a waker. The waker experiences the waking world. And when Raja Janaka was dreaming, he was a dreamer who experienced the dream world. Beside these two, there is another state which we all go through, which is a deep state of where there is no dreams. We can refer to a person in this state as a sleeper who experiences blankness. What the Mandukya Upanishad tells you is that you are not these three. You are not the waker, you are not a dreamer, you are not a sleeper. What you actually are is a fourth, which is called Turiya. It simply means number 4. The mantra uses the term Chaturtham, which means fourth. The term Turiya was introduced by Gopada. Defeated and exiled Raja Janaka in the dream world was not real, but there was a fourth who was watching, and the fourth which was always real. This is what Ashtavakra Muni was trying to tell Raja Janaka. Similarly, we are in a waking state which is not ultimately real, but there is a fourth that is watching, that is real. I am not calling the fourth a state because it is not a state like waking, dreaming, or a deep sleep. Turiya is a reality, the one consciousness underlying the 3 states. You, the self, have 4 aspects: waker, dreamer, sleeper, Turiya. Among these, the first 3 are false. One alone is real. Now the interesting thing is that the Upanishad says you are Turiya. Okay, but we have no awareness of it. As a waker, I experience the waking world. When I dream, I experience the dream world. When I am in a deep sleep, I experience the total blankness. In a deep sleep, we have no experience of a world, no experience of a body, no experience of the mind. When the thought I am sleeping is not there, if you can say I am sleeping, you are surely not in a deep sleep. Deep sleep is a state we all experience. Apart from it, and yet underlying all 3 states, the Upanishad points out Turiyam, which is fourth. Note that this is a subjective point of view from the person's perspective who is experiencing them. It is a description of our own daily experience. How are we understand this? The 3 states we can understand, but the 4th one is not clear. An example: ornaments and gold. Let's look at this in this way. Suppose we have an ornament and say it is a bracelet or a necklace or a ring. Somebody tells you these are just the names and the forms. The reality is the gold. In the other words, it's the gold bangle, the gold necklace or gold ring. But the reality is not the bangle or necklace nor ring. The real substance is a gold. Here is an interesting story illustrates this point. Once there was a businessman whose business was making losses. So he decided to take a loan by mortgaging a Ganesha image, which is made of gold, in a pawn shop. The jeweler weighed the image and gave the businessman the rate at which he would purchase the idol. Now, as you know, the Ganesha, the Vahana, is a mouse. The jeweler then weighed the mouse and also it is made of gold and gave the same rate as that of a gold Ganesha image. Hearing this, the businessman said angrily, "Lord Ganesh and the mouse have the same rate? How is this possible?" Then the jeweler said, "It is the Lord Ganesha and mouse for you, but for me it's just a gold. So I am weighing the gold and giving you the rate for a gold. In this story, the gold is reality or substance. Similarly, the ornaments such as the bangle, necklace, or ring are just the names, the forms and functions. Sometimes you put around your neck, it's called necklace. The ornament you put on your wrist is called bangle. And the ring is something you put on your finger. But the substance or reality for all three is gold alone. Now suppose a person does not understand what gold is. He may think the gold is a fourth type of ornament. Now if he throws away all the ornaments and starts searching for a gold, will he find it? No, he will not find it because there is no gold apart from the ornaments. On the other hand, if he thinks the gold is a one specific ornament, what happens? Suppose he thinks the gold means just a bangle. The moment the bangle is melted and made into the necklace, he will think the gold is lost. He does not understand the new form. The necklace is same gold. It is the same gold in a new form. A new name, new function. Then what necklace is also melted and made into the ring, it is still the same gold. It is again a new name with a new form and function, while the physical reality, the gold remains the same. Similarly, the idea in a Mandukya Upanishad is one of the three states, the waker, dreamer and sleeper. Just like the three ornaments and the reality like gold is that you are the witness of all three states and you are in and through these states. The idea is that there is no fourth separate reality called Turiya. It is the same reality which is being called the waker in a waking state. It is the same reality, the same consciousness which will be called dreamer in a dream state. And it is the same reality which will be called sleeper in a sleep state. It is the same gold no matter whether it comes as a bangle, necklace or ring. So, what is the difference between these states? In the waking state, we are in a physical body with the sense of organs interacting with the physical world. So in the waking state, there is a great preponderance of a physical body and interactions with the physical world. The term which is used, Bhahish Pragyam or extroverted consciousness, the consciousness which is flowing out into the world. The dream world is simply constituted by mind out of our experiences in a waking state. So when I go to the sleep, whatever I have experienced in a waking state throughout my life, these elements come together and appear as dreams. For example, in my sleep, I dreamed that I went to Delhi and engaged in many activities there and came back. But when I woke up, I saw that I am in a Kanpur and physically I had not gone to the Delhi. The body was lying under the mosquito net on the bed. So, we can say that the dream world is entirely made up of a mind. The term used in Vedanta for this is Antaha Pragya, which is the consciousness directed inwards. The shining only in the mind, not externally in the world. For the sleeper in a deep sleep, there are no experiences except that for a blankness or darkness. When we wake up from the deep sleep, we say, I did not know anything else while sleeping. I slept like a log of a wood, and there was no external awareness. There were no dreams, had a peaceful sleep. So the deep sleep is a state of a total blankness. The term used for this in Vedanta is Pragya-Gahana. It means the mass of consciousness. All the external words, dreams, everything is pushed into indistinguishable mass. The potential state, because next moment when you awake, everything is back again. Your body, mind, same people around you, all came back. So according to the Mandukya Upanishad, the three states of waking, dreaming and deep sleeps are not reality. The reality is the fourth one which is underlying all of them, just like the gold apart from all ornaments, and yet it is in and through all of them. The bangle form ceases to exist when it is melted and made into necklace. Similarly, the necklace can made into bangle. The bangle is not a necklace and vice versa, and both are the pure gold. So the gold apart from the bangle, in the sense that when a bangle is transformed into the necklace, the gold survives. When the necklace is transformed into the ring, then again the gold survives. Similarly, the waker is a part of a dreamer, and the dreamer is a part of a waker. But there is something that continues in both of them, and that is what called Turiya or fourth. All this is not new to us. Do we not say, it may dream, it was my dream, and it was my deep sleep, it was my waking now. But who is that one who is saying it? It's my waking, my deep sleep, my dream. That is the one, the consciousness, which is the part of all waking self. Apart from a dreaming self and apart from the sleeping self, and yet it is in and through all of them. That is the Turiya, the fourth, the real self. Turiya is present right now. It is here and now. What is added to Turiya are the circumstances of waker, just like a gold is added to the form, function, and name of ornament. Circumstances come and go. For instance, look at your own body. You can see yourself as a young person, middle-aged, or an old person. An old person remembers the same consciousness was watching when he was 10 years old kid, and again he was 20 years old. It is watching that you are now, and the same consciousness will be watching when your body is much older. So the body is changing continuously, but the consciousness which illuminates it remains the same. I was the one in a 10 years old body. I was one who was in a teenager's body. Now I am the one in this middle-aged body, and so on. So who is this continuous I? Not only the body is continuously changing, the mind is also changing. Imagine your mind when you were in a 10th grade in a school. I was saying the 10th grade because everybody remembers the 10th grade board exam, which is the first big board exam which you had to face. So imagine your mind at that time, what you knew, what you did not know, what you liked, what you did not like, what you wanted, and just compare it with your mind now. You know so many more things now. Your likes, dislikes have changed. What if you want in a life has changed. So the mind is continuously changing. But there is some consciousness which was watching the mind of a 10th grade student, which is also the right here, and watching the mind of an adult now. So the mind is a series of changes, but consciousness is not changing. Every night, when we go from waking to dream to the sleep, consciousness remains the same. In the dream state, the word changes. The waking word disappears into the new word, and the dream body appears. Remember that the body which you have in a dream is different from the body of a waking word, because the waking word's body is lying on a bed, but in a dream. Your dream body is doing so many things in a dream world. It's a false body, no doubt. But just like the Raja Janaka, you are experiencing that you have a body there in that dream world. So the consciousness apart from a waking world, waking body, the consciousness apart from the dream world, and the dream body, and the consciousness apart from a deep sleep blankness, it is in and through all of them. States are coming and going. Ego associated with each state is coming and going, but the consciousness is illuminating all of them. You are that consciousness. Turiya, the pure consciousness, is only reality. And this is the answer to the who am I, The question is, who am I apart from the physical world of waking state, apart from the mental imagination of a dream state, and apart from the blankness of a deep sleep state? Turiya illuminates the waker, illumines dreamer, illumines the sleeper, and also appears as the respective physical world, the dream world, and the deep sleep blankness. Another example, the station master. One of our Swamis used to give this example. A railway station master is sitting in his station. The first Rajdhani Express comes into the station platform. Since the Rajdhani Express is an important train, many people board and off the train, and the station gets busy with the people and is buzzing with activities. The station master watches this. After he gives the signal, the Rajdhani Express goes away. The station master does not go away with the Rajdhani Express. He is watching. Then another train chucks into the station. This time, maybe a goods train. There is not much activity now. There are just a few people on a platform, and the station master is still watching. When he gives the signal, the train goes away, but the station master is not gone with the goods train. He is still on a platform watching. The next, what happens? Now no train comes into the station and the platform is empty, but the station master is still there watching the empty platform. Now this is exactly what is happening. You are a pure consciousness. You watch the arrival of a waking state, just like the Rajdhani Express. There are also so many activities, hopes, aspirations, success and failures, problems that comes with the body and the world, and you are watching. Only difference in this case is that you get identified with the mind in the waking state and say, I am Mr. or Mrs. and so, and this is my reality. These are my problems, these are my hopes, success and failures, and these are my goals. Next, in a sleep state, all this disappears. You, like a station master, are watching in your sleep. New dream world appears. There is a dream body. In that dream world, there are both pleasant dreams, nightmares, and you are now identified with the dream body and the dream mind. You go through these dream experiences and then also fades away when you enter into deep sleep. Deep sleep state is like an empty platform. You are like a station master watching the empty platform, and when you wake up, the waking state returns, and it is like the Rajdhani Express coming again into the station. But you are apart from all these states. Not only you are apart from all of them, you are untouched by all suffering or enjoyment of a waking state or a dream state and the blankness of a sleep state. None of them touch the pure consciousness which is apart from all of them, but it sustains all of them. In the light, all three states of waking, dreaming and deep sleep are illuminated. The seventh mantra of Mandukya Upanishad. The self is not a dreamer, not a waker, not an in-between state, not a deep sleeper, not all-knower and not unconscious. Self is not a dreamer, not a waker, not in-between state, not a deep sleeper, not all-knower and not unconscious. The self is invisible, not transactable, not graspable, not inferred, beyond thought, beyond language. It is the essence of a I sense and we sense of universe, peace itself, bliss itself, non-dual and thought to be forth. That is the self to be realized. There are three parts to this mantra. First part denies that you self are the waker, dreamer or sleeper. It says that you are not this waking person. you imagine yourselves to be. Second part says the self, not something in this world. You are not a physical body or a mind. The self is not an object of senses. It can't be inferred, nor it can be expressed in a language, even thought about it. The third part tells that you are in and thorough the three steps, just like the gold is in through all the ornaments. You are the consciousness which is watching all three panorama. This game of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. Nanta pragyam. Nanta pragyam. That means inward directed consciousness, the dreamer. It says that you are not a dreamer. You, Turiya, the fourth one, is not the dreamer. Nabhish pragyam. Nahish pragyam. You are not the waker. The real nature is not the waker, which we all imagine as our reality. For example, I think the Swami Supraravapriyananda standing here in the lecture hall 3 in IIT Kanpur. This is my reality. The mantra says you are not a consciousness illuminating. You are the consciousness illuminating this temporary appearance in your consciousness. No bhayat pragyam. Anything between ubhayat, no bhayat. No bhayat means ubhayat, non in between the waking and dreaming. You are not some in between state. Na pragyanagrahanam. Pragyahaganam, the deep sleeper. Agnam, the deep sleeper. You are a Turiya, not Pragyahaganam, na Pragyanam. Here the word Pragyam is inferred as are you God all knowing? You are not that also. Then am I not sentient? I am some inert entity. Jada vastu, like duster or chalk. Chalk is no, not like that. So na apragyam means that you are not a consciousness. You are not unconscious. You are not all knowing God. You are not a waking person. You are not a dream person. You are not a sleeping person. You are the third one, fourth one. Turiya, none of this. Adrisham literally means you are not visible. But it is also something that you cannot be seen, you cannot be heard, you cannot be touched, you cannot smell. The self is not a subject of five senses. Then sometimes people say if God exists or Atma exists, why can't I see it? Isn't like saying if the Higgs boson exists, why can't I see it? It is like the electricity is flowing, but still I cannot see the electricity. This is because it is not a yogya. It is not an object of a normal vision. For example, you can say there is no elephant in a room. There is no elephant in the room because you can't see it. And it is perfectly correct statement, because if there was an elephant in a room, you could have seen it. But for the Higgs boson, you cannot say, because I cannot see it, it is not there. Even if it is a particle, where particle were right here, we would not able to see it. Not seeing is not a proof of a non-existence of such a thing as a tiny particle. Similarly, here it is always says the consciousness is not something that you can see or smell or touch. It is adrisham, avyaharam, avyaharaym, avyavaharam. It is not within the transaction. The transaction means usable. Like you can send, seal, feel, touch, you can speak about, you can manipulate. That is vyavaharam. Pure consciousness is not an object which can be manipulated, seen, felt and used. But remember, it is a ground and the source of all vyavahara. Some of the waking, deepening and sleeping can exist without the pure consciousness which is illuminating all this. but the pure consciousness itself, avyavaharam, agrahyam, it cannot be grasped, agrahyam, which means it cannot be object of an organ of actions, not vaishya, pancha, karmendriya. You cannot hold it with your hands. You cannot walk to it. On the pilgrimage, you can walk to Badrinath or Kedarnath, but you cannot walk to Turiya. Alakashanam. It is a technical term which means the Turiya cannot be inferred. Lakshanam, which means the sign by which you infer something. For example, you see the road is wet, so that you can infer from this. You infer that there was a rain earlier. In the Indian philosophy, the classical example is that there is a fire on a hill because I can see the smoke. Here is the relation between the smoke and fire. If I see the smoke, I can infer that there was a fire. Inference is crucial in the field of science, but in case of a Turiya, it cannot be inferred because there is no sign by which you can infer it. Achintam, you cannot think about it. If you have an object, if you have a thought about it, it would be an object. Then it is not a Turiya. You cannot think about it. But remember, the opposite also holds. Whatever you think about is illumined by the Turiya. The fun fact that we are having the conscious experience is because of Turiya, but it is not an object of thought. Avyapadeshyam. It literally means cannot be named. But why can it not be named? The explanation for this is very interesting. Adi Shankaracharya has given an exposition about where we can use the language. There are 5 areas where the language works, and he shows that in the case of Turiyam, none of those 5 apply. Jati, you can use the language in a case of jati or species when the object belongs to same class or set. Let's take an example of a cow. We know the characteristics of cow, so going by the characteristics, we can say the object is a cow. We can match it with the set of cows and say that it belongs to a particular set. But there is no set for the case of Turiya. It is only one. It cannot be part of a class or jati. Then guna, it means the quality, some quality. For example, when someone asks, give me the red flower, how do you distinguish the red flower from all other flowers? By the quality of a color red. But in case of a Turiya, you cannot see it. The consciousness cannot have a quality because it is nirguna, which is beyond all qualities. Kriya means action. Shankaracharya gives the examples, the calling the cook. How do you use the language here? By activity of a person, call the cook, but the Turiya is nishkriyam. There is no activity in Turiyam. It is unchanging. So the kriya and activity cannot be used here. Sambandha means relation. For example, when someone calls the teacher, who is the teacher? There is a teacher because the teacher-student relationship between those two persons. Other examples are the parent and child and so on. But for Turiya, there is no relationship because it is one non-dual reality. There is nothing apart from it. Everything appears in Turiya, but they have no reality apart from it. Just as a bangle, necklace, ring have no reality apart from gold. If you remove the gold, the ornament disappears. If you remove the water, the wave disappears. If you remove the wood from a table, the table disappears. Similarly, Turiya is only the reality which is appearing all these forms or ways. So there can be no sambandha relationship between the Turiya and anything else. Rudhi means finally the convention, the Rudhi. For example, when you say the person's name is Prakash, why are you calling him a Prakash? Answer is just the name which is given by his parents. You cannot use even this method to name Turiya because the name somebody, you have to point of start of that person. It has to be pointed apart from all other objects, but you cannot point out Turiya. Up to the Avyapadeshana is the second part of a mantra. Here you can see that the mantra actually denies the Turiya is any of these. Entire physical world, entire dream world, and the blankness of a deep sleep. You cannot see it, you cannot touch it, you cannot infer it, you cannot think about it, you cannot speak about it. Turiya is indicated in negative terms by saying what it is not. But now comes the third part. Here, the mantra speaks about Turiya in positive terms. Ekatma pratyavyasaram. Eka means one. Atma or self. Pratya or recognition. Saram means essence. If you follow this, the self, I feeling, you will come to Turiya. This is exactly what Ashtavakra Muni told to Raja Janaka in the dream state. Were you there? The dream is a false, no doubt. But were you there? Yes, I was there. In a waking state. Now, are you there? Yes, I am here. That is the Ekatma Pratyasaranam. The presence of I feeling. The consciousness which is illuminating even the blankness of a deep sleep. The consciousness in and through all the three states. Just like the gold is in and through the ornaments and the consciousness is Turiya. It is a very extraordinary word. When you follow that I feeling, you continue intuitively realize that you are the Turiya. This is the famous Who Am I inquiry taught by Ramana Maharshi. Prapanchomnam, that means the universe is an appearance. Turiya, the self alone, is the reality. Three words, the waking, dream, deep sleep, are appearances in a consciousness. Shantam, absolutely the peaceful, ever undisturbed. Turiya is completely untouched by the trouble, sorrows, and limitations of three states. There is no word there to disturb you, even when all three states are arising and disappearing. That is your reality. Shivam, that means Ananda, or full of joy. More precisely, Turiya is a bliss itself, Advaitam, non-dual. Because there is nothing apart from Turiya, just as a gold is a non-dual with respect to the bangle, necklace and ring. The ring is a distance distinct from necklace, and necklace is distinct from bangle, but none of them exist apart from gold. In fact, in all of the gold is the only reality, because if you remove the gold, they will disappear. So with respect to all these three, the gold is Advaitam, non-dual. Similarly, with respect to our universe, three are a waking universe, dream universe, and potential universe of sleep. With respect to them, Turiya is Advaitam. They are not apart from Turiya. It is very important to see what sense Turiya is apart from the waker, dreamer, and sleeper, and what sense these three none other than Turiya. The example of a gold and ornament is helpful in making some distinction. It is a tremendous statement that these three states are not apart from you. In that case, the waker is you, the Turiya, and the entire waking world is actually you, the Turiya. You are the word. Advaitam declares you alone appear as the word and everything in it. The enlightened one feels I am everything. I feel oneness with everything. Just like in the dream world, you were there as many people, non-living things. When you wake up, what do you say? The dream world was entirely constructed from your own mind. That means whatever you saw in a dream was actually you. In the same way, in a waking world also everything is projected in a Turiya. We are the one with all that we experience in that case. Chaturtham manyate. We can easily understand the last part now. Ignorant people think there is something separate called fourth, as if the gold is thing which is the part of ornament. The self is not a fourth entity apart from these three, the waker, dream and sleeper. To find the fourth, you have to investigate these three states. The fourth one is a shining in and through these three states. Look back upon those experiences and see what was the common all through. It is not a fourth apart from all this. Chaturtham literally means Turiya. People think it is a fourth reality, but actually it is only the reality which three states are actually false. The three states are not real. They are appearances. Their reality is a fourth. There are no four things here. Here there is only one thing. Sa Atma. That is what you are. Atma literally means the self, the real I. This is the answer to the question which we started with. Who am I? I am the one, Turiya, which appears as a waker, waking what? Dreamer, a dreaming what? Sleeper, in a deep sleep potential what? Sa Vigyaha. It is to be realized by not only listening about in a class or reading about in a book, but by making it into reality, spiritualizing everyday life. Swami Vivekananda has said that he who runs away from the word to meditate and die in Himalayan cave searching for a god has missed the way. He who plunges the headlong into the vanities of the word, he too has missed the way. Then what is the way? The way is to spiritualize your everyday life. Now with this background of Mandukya Upanishad, we can understand what Swami Vivekananda means. You are a pure consciousness through which you alone are appearing as a waker. Now you are the same consciousness which appears in all beings, which appears in non-living world as well, in a waking, dreaming and deep sleep. Turiya is the same spiritual reality which I am, which you all are, which everything else is. In that sense, we are the one with universe. If everybody tells you to leave all this and search for Turiya, everywhere it is like throwing away the Bengal necklace ring and searching for gold. Rather, we should realize ourselves as a pure consciousness, Turiya, and everyone and everything as a one other than the same Turiya, and live the life in a peace and fullness of a joy. Realize the divinity within yourself and the spiritual oneness of whole universe. Manifest that divinity in a daily life through the peace, love and service to all beings. That is the spiritualization of everyday life. Tattvamasi. Thank you for listening. If you have any feedback, just tell me. Just let me know. It is a very interesting thing to know about who am I, and today we discussed the book which is written by the Swami Sarvapriyananda. It is a very good book. It's a very small book, but having the understanding of what is a sleeper, dreamer, and deep sleep, and the Turiya is very interesting. So who we are the consciousness which having the experiences in the waking, dreaming, deep sleep world. So it is in and through all three states Turiya exists, which is somebody calls Atman, somebody called consciousness. So this is what we are. This is who am I. Okay, signing off. Always all to 360. Thank you for listening.